In this video, I'll show you several different ways to animate from full screen video to a picture-in-picture scene using the available tools in Camtasia. I'll start with the simplest and then move on to more complex and super cool looking animations and effects. Let's get into it. This first animation I'm going to show you is super simple, and in fact it's not even really an animation, but you'll see what I mean. So I've got a sample project open here. I have a video with audio here on track 2, and track 1 is just a screen recording. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do actually is I'm going to right click on this video, and I want to separate my video and audio. I just find it a lot easier to work with it this way. So I separated out the audio. I'm going to drag this down to the bottom track. So now let's work with this video track. So let's identify where in this video track we want the split to occur, or the transition to the circle picture-in-picture to occur. Okay, so let's assume we want to do it right here. There's a break in the audio here. Okay, so let's hit the S key on a PC, or Command T, I believe, on a Mac, to split this track. Now we want to move this one up to the top track, and so it's the second one that we want to work with. So let's go ahead and go to our visual effects. Let's go look for the circle mask, and we'll drag that down to this right here. And now here is our circle mask, which we can change. I'm just going to hold down Shift here. We can change the size, okay, and the location. I think that's probably good right there, and you can test it with the playhead. Okay, now let's resize this whole thing here. So let's drag the corner here and make this smaller. And now let's position it down in the corner. Let's say we want this to appear right here. Okay. So now we go from this to this. And this first way to animate it is just to simply fade from one to the other. So all you have to do is go up to your transitions, look for the fade transition, put it on the end of this one, and then drag another fade transition to the beginning of the next. And then you'll simply have this. Just like that. Super simple. But again, not even really an animation. So now let me show you how to actually animate it from full screen into the circle and down into the corner. So let me just Control Z here to several times to back up everything that I just did. Okay, so this time I want to start with going to get a shape, a circle shape. Okay, so we'll go up to Annotations, and let's look for our circle shape right here, and we'll drag it onto the timeline, and let's stretch it out to cover the entire clip. Okay, now let's reposition this circle roughly where we want it. I'm going to hold Control and Shift as I drag this corner to make it larger. Okay, I'm going to make it even larger than that. And now let's just drag it down here. And just a quick tip, if you want to see exactly where you want to put this, an easy way is to go and change the opacity of the circle. If you just drag that down a little bit, now you can actually see exactly where it is. And envision everything within the circle is going to be what is going to show once we're finished with this effect. Okay, so now that we know that we have it where we want it, let's bring the opacity back up. Now let's go over to our visual effects and look for the media mat right here and drag that down to the circle shape. Okay, so that masks out our face just the way we want it. So the next step though is we want to position our playhead in the location where we want this effect to finish up looking like this. Okay, and this is actually an intermediate step, and I'll explain what I mean. So let's just put the playhead here for now. Let's go up and grab an animation. So let's go to Animations and grab a custom animation. We'll bring it back down here. Okay, now let's put the playhead at the beginning of the animation. And now I want to go up to Scale, okay? And let's start increasing the scale of this until everything is covered. So now if we play this, you'll see what effect we have. Cool new things to show you as well. Okay, nice little animation. So the next thing I want to do is I actually want to add another animation, but this time I want to add it to the video itself. And I want it to be the same, in the same location as the animation of the shape. So let's grab a custom animation. We'll drag it down here. And you can see it's the same, it starts the same location and it ends in the same location. Okay? So at the end, with the video selected, I want to crop this in so it's basically the same size as the circle. So let's click on the crop tool. Let's crop in the edges like this. It'll snap to the circle. All three edges like this, and the top edge is already there. Just like that. So let's select our select tool again, and let's just kind of play this back and forth. You'll see what happens. Okay, so that's the animation that we've done. And if you want, as you can see, as you're animating this in, you can see that the cropping is happening faster than the circle is happening, if that makes sense. So if you want just to see the circle, then what you'd have to do is you'd want the animation of the crop to happen faster. So let's just zoom in here a little bit so we can see what we're doing. And on this one here, let's just shorten this like so. Okay, and that should be enough to get the effect we want. So let's slowly drag this. Okay, and that's what we have for the animation. Let's just play that a little quicker.
Blue things to show you as well. Like every...
Okay, just like that. So to complete this though, what I now want to do, now that I'm in this position here, let's put our playhead here near where, let's put our playhead somewhere after that initial animation. Okay, and let's actually highlight both of these and split them. Now I'm going to right click and I'm going to group them together. Okay, so now our circle mask is grouped with our video. So let's add another animation to this. Okay, and in the ending position, let's grab a corner and shrink it down and move it down here. Let's make it even smaller. Okay, so now let's play this whole thing all the way through.
Got a bunch of cool new things to show you as well. Like every stream I do, I'll be sharing my screen.
Okay, like a two-stage animation to get it down in the corner. Now, if you want to take this to the, level it up one step further, there's a couple other things we could do to this. So with this, on this section of the animation, let's go ahead to Visual Effects, and let's go in and look for Border, which is right here. Let's bring this down, drag a border onto this. Over here in the properties, let's change the color. We're not going to be able to see white because we're on a white screen. And let's choose, I don't know, a blue color like this. Okay, increase the thickness. Now you're also going to want to click this Use Alpha box so that it doesn't just have a border around the square on the outside, just like that. Let's increase the thickness some more. Okay, and that's our border. Now the animation will start without a border, and then as you animate, the border appears. That may be the look that you want, but if you want the border to appear in the beginning as well, then you'll have to add it. The border is already added, but you'll have to modify the thickness. If you have the playhead at the end, you notice the thickness, we've set it to 28. Let's go back to the beginning here and modify this thickness up to 28 or so. Oh, and we also have to change the color as well. Change it to the same blue. So as you can see, you can actually animate from one color to another if you want to as well. Okay, but this is the effect that we have right now.
As well. Like every stream I do, I'll be sharing my...
Okay, not sure I like that. The blue border just kind of appeared out of nowhere. Let's actually drop that down to 0. Okay, so that it does grow as the animation shrinks to the corner.
Show you as well. Like every stream I do, I'll be sharing my...
Okay, one more thing we can add to this that I think makes it look even better is a drop shadow. Let's grab a drop shadow. Again, it's in the Visual Effects tab. Look for drop shadow. Click and drag it down to our group here, and then automatically you can see it's been added. You can modify the offset, the blur, the opacity, the direction at which the shadow is projected. But I like that just like that. Okay?
Stream I do, I'll be sharing my...
Now let's level this up even further. So something else, that just adding a little bit more spice to this animation. Let's go ahead and put the playhead at the end of the animation. Let's go up here to rotation, and on the Z-axis here, let's have this kind of roll down like a ball rolling down a hill, say. So the way to achieve that is let's make it rotate all the way around, so that's 360 degrees. And that would be, we're going this way, so clockwise would be minus 360. We'll type that in. Okay, and let's see what we get with that.
Like every stream I do, I'll be sharing my...
Pretty cool. And then one final thing to show before we move on. Let's also introduce, with the playhead at the end, introduce a little flip rotation as well, and that would be the Y-axis. So let's go ahead and double click that, and let's add 360 degrees to that one as well. And let's see what we have now.
Cool new things to show you as well. Like every stream I do, I'll be sharing my screen.
All right, pretty cool. Adds that little extra spice to your video if that's what you're looking for, just something that's kind of cool. But now let me show you a completely different way to do this that will give you even more cool effects, if you will. So let me zoom all the way out. I'm going to copy all of this, and I'm going to put it here at the end. Let's delete this. We'll delete this. I'm basically going to start with what we started with the last time, so here we are now. This time we're not going to use the circle mask or the media mat or any of that. Instead, we're going to use corner rounding. Let me show you how this works. It's pretty cool. So let's go up to our visual effects. Let's look for the corner rounding. It's right here. We'll click and drag that onto our video. Over in the properties, let's change the radius for now to 0, which means I don't want any corner rounding at all. So if you had some corner rounding, you can see what it does. Okay, but let's bring that down to 0. Now I want to add a border. Let's go up here to border, again, under visual effects, border, click and drag that down. And for the border, I'm going to choose a thickness of about 20 or so. You can see it being applied here outside of our canvas. And it's important to click the Use Alpha checkbox as well, because that will result in rounded corners as opposed to squared off corners. And I'm also going to change the color again to a color that will look visible on a white background. So we'll go with the same blue we used before. And you can tell that it's been added just by clicking and dragging in a corner like that. Next, let's add a square shape. So let's go up to annotations and let's look for a square shape, and we'll bring that onto the canvas. And what we want to do now is we want to drag this out and cover my face basically in a perfectly square shape. I want to cover the face that is eventually going to be in the picture-in-picture down in the corner. So once again, to make sure we were positioning it correctly, let's go over to opacity and turn that down a little bit. Okay, and let's just make it a little bit bigger. Move it over a bit. Now to make sure you're square, let's go over here to the size and let's change the size. Make sure that it's pretty much square. So let's modify the width here so that it matches the height. Okay, and then make sure it's positioned where we want it, and let's bring our opacity back up. Next, let's move our playhead to where we want this animation to occur. Okay, and we want to put an animation down on the video, just like this. Okay, let's zoom in a little bit so we can see what we're doing. With the playhead here at the end, let's go ahead and crop our video into this square. Now we're just using this square as a guide. I'm going to delete that in a second. So let's click on crop. Let's crop the video in to the square shape. It's going to snap into place. Make sure you have up in view, make sure you have your canvas snapping enabled, which I do. Okay, and crop the video in and have it snap into the square. Now let's highlight the square shape and delete it because we're all finished with it. So now let's click on the select tool again, turn off the crop, and now we can kind of click and we can drag this to wherever we want. Now let's go back to our properties. And under corner rounding, let's start increasing the radius. And you can see what it does. It turns it into a circle. Now you can go too far. So you basically want to go just until you've got it into the shape of a circle. Okay, just like that. And we can increase the thickness of our border like this. And then we can also reduce the size, move it down into the corner. Okay, and everything we're doing here, we're doing at the end of the animation. Okay, and if you remember, the beginning was up here full screen. So now let's play that through.
We'll start at 1 p.m. Eastern. I'll go through the questions.
Okay, I can tell the circle isn't the perfect shape right now, so I just have to adjust the radius out a little bit like that. And I mean, you don't have to go to a perfect circle. You could have a square with rounded corners like that, okay? Whatever look you like.
p.m. Eastern. I'll go through the questions I received.
And of course, you can add the drop shadow as well, just as you did before. And then increase the offset if we want. And we now have this.
1 p.m. Eastern. I'll go through the questions
I've got one more to show you. Let me just back this up. Control Z several times to go back. So let's put our corner rounding back in place. Make this a circular shape, whatever shape we want. Actually, that's probably good just like that. So now what I'm going to do is just something a little bit different. Instead of using an animation to bring it down into the corner, let's go look for the motion path. Let's click that and drag it down to our clip like this. Okay. Now let's change where the end is going to be, say down here. So we're working with two animations at once here. This arrow, the classic animation, let's use that one to bring our size down. Okay, so let's just bring our scale down. Okay, and then let's use this one, the motion path, for our motion to get over here down into the corner. And with motion path, you can create all kinds of crazy motions with these by dragging these handles like this. Okay, so you can do something like that.
Eastern. I'll go through the questions I received during the last.
All right, or you can even have that motion path occur at the same time as the classic animation and get something like this.
1 p.m. Eastern. I'll go through the questions I received.
How cool is that?
If you want more tips like this, come join me on Tuesdays for my weekly live stream. I live stream every Tuesday here on YouTube, sharing my screen and doing how-to tutorials. I show you how I make my videos, and I answer any questions you have live. So if you're looking to level up your videos, join me on Tuesdays. I'm Rob, and I'll see you in the next video, or in a live stream. I'll see you soon.